Hi everyone. So back again with our podcast. So today we're here with us, Pak Junedi. And so Jaden, you can start with the questions.
So before we start with that, Pak Junedi, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Junedi Liu. I'm the Vice President Director of SeaBank Indonesia, one of the leading digital bank in Indonesia.
I see. So now, at first we want to ask you some general questions about digital banking. So how would you explain digital banking to someone totally new to banking technology? And how would you compare it or differentiate it from a traditional bank?
Right. So banking industry is one of the oldest industry in the world. And banking services serve a lot of millions of users. In the past, conventional bank relies on branch and physical presence to reach out and serve those customers. With digital advancement, with technology, we can really reach out and serve those customers using digital means, whether it's through mobile apps or whether through internet banking.
I see.
So for the next question, Pak, which companies do you think digital banks outperform traditional banks?
Right. So one of the limitations of conventional banks is the high cost of banking itself. Yeah. In order to reach out and gain new customer, they have to open a lot of branch. They need to hire a lot of people who sell the products and services to introduce and educate the market. Through digital technologies, we are able to be much more efficient and much more scalable in how we do acquisition, in how we can serve those markets by being available 24/7, by being reliable and quite efficient, where you can do all your banking transaction through the mobile phone in your palm, instead of having to travel to a location in order to access the digital service, bank service.
So basically digital banking is more efficient, you mean, yeah?
It will have a cost advantage in terms on how we acquire customer and how we serve them.
Okay.
But do you feel that there are any downsides or barriers to becoming a digital bank as compared to a traditional bank?
Of course. So I think in the end, right, it's about digital adoption in the country. If you don't have enough technology infrastructure such as mobile data, if there's a lot of area that don't have mobile data, if a huge part of population doesn't have a smartphone, then of course the scalability of digital bank business will have a limit.
Okay. What strategies do you think would work without the physical space associated with other services? Yeah.
So in the end, banking business is about trust. Right? So the question is, without a physical presence and a human relation to introduce the bank, how we can gain enough trust for people to download and use our services. Right? It could be through a good financial performance, where people will understand that, your bank is doing quite well financially, and they will have the trust. It could be association with a digital ecosystem, which is very big, reputable. And it could also be through the reliability and availability of your system itself. For example, if you use some sort of app, for example, let's say social media, but you always have leak. Your data is being leaked. It has issue with your logins. It's not available all the time. Those will impact your trust. So for a digital services with a physical presence, reliability, availability, secureness of your app will become key to build that trust.
I see. So, but how about when you first start off as a digital bank? Of course, you don't really have like a reputation yet of reliability and all of that. So how would you suggest when you're first starting out as trying to make a digital bank?
Right. So I think in the end, it's true for all businesses. When you want to launch a business, you really need to understand your vision and mission of the business itself. Who are the customer you're trying to solve? What are the pain points that you're trying to solve? And how you can solve those the best, right? But when you understand those, you can build your reputation brick by brick, right? One customer per one customer. When we started, we rely on digital ecosystems such as Shopee to introduce the business. But now that we already have millions of customers who had good experience with us, the reputation built itself. It become word of mouth, where people will introduce our business to others because they trust us. So when you start your business, whether it's a digital bank, whether it's a business, you need to focus on those. Really understand who you want to serve, understand their pain points, understand how you can really solve those, and then you ensure that your solution is reliable.
And then in the last decade, Pak, what would you attribute the rise of digital banking in Indonesia to?
Yeah, I think the rise of digital banking in Indonesia also depends on digital adoption in the country itself. When COVID happens, it's unfortunate, but at that point of time, a lot of digital adoptions in a lot of country is actually growing because people are forced to adopt digital ways. Right? We're talking about everything. In the past, if you go to doctor, you need to be physically see the doctor. Yeah. But during COVID, people learn to adopt online check, right? Where you talk to the doctor over technology adoption. So the same with the digital banks. So the better the digital economy and digital adoption of a country, the more scalable the digital business will grow.
So do you think there's any aspects or categories that digital banking actually outperforms traditional banking in?
Yeah, I feel that the one aspect that the digital bank perform really well is on the acquisition part.
The acquisition part.
Because younger generation are more native in terms of digital adoptions. Right? They easily adopt new digital apps. So in the past conventional banks, you have to build branches, you need to hire people, you need to go out and promote your bank. In a digital era, you need to have a digital presence. People have good experience with your apps and it will promote by itself.
And then what evidence points to the adoption of more modern approach to banking and personal finance of the digital variety, especially by the youngest population like us?
Okay, so the first thing that I will suggest to younger generation is to really understand your financial goals and your financial health, right? By learning more about how you manage finance, then you will able to grow and protect your wealth, right? Yeah. And by understanding that, you can understand what type of solution you need. Then you can match the right offering from a digital bank such as ourselves to match with your needs. Whether at this point of time, do you really need a payment solution, or you really need an investment where you can grow your asset? Those are a personalized question for each of you. If you really understand those, then you can assess each of the offering from digital banks, and you can find the right digital bank for you.
Speaking on that, I think that SeaBank has many different competition, right? With OVO, GoPay, Alobank. How does SeaBank specifically differentiate itself from its competitors?
Yeah. So I think one of the key differentiators that we have is we have synergy with our Shopee ecosystem. So Shopee itself is a marketplace where a lot of buyer and seller do business, right? They will need a banking service to help with their payment, with the borrowing of money in order to install the goods that you want to buy or buy the raw materials you need to do your business. So SeaBank is there to serve those buyer and seller within the marketplace. Other digital banks might have different ecosystem. Some will have an offline presence, some will have an online presence. But the key question is how well you can execute those synergy with the ecosystem that you have. That will differentiate one bank with the others.
Okay, so for the personal finance blunders, which do you think are the most prevalent for young Indonesians?
Okay, so you're asking for
young Indonesians like us again. Back to the previous question.
Right. So I will not recommend you what's the best, right? Because my financial goals could be different from your financial goals. My risk profile could be different from your risk profile. So my suggestion is really understand the goals that you want financially.
Because different people have different goals.
Yes, and different products are there. For example, if I want to protect the asset, then I will prefer a more safe haven asset. But if I want to grow and I'm willing to adopt some risk, then there are a lot of products, right? You can invest on stocks. You can invest on mutual funds. If you really want to protect, you can invest on gold, for example, but it really depends on your goals, on your risk profile, and you need to start somewhere. That's my point. Yeah.
So it just depends on the person back again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is unwise to follow an investment trend without really understanding yourself.
Okay.
Oh,
Noted.
so moving on, do you feel digital banking has changed the way consumers manage and access financial services?
Okay. I don't think it's digital bank who change. I think bank itself are the one who adopt to customer needs. Yeah. Customer nowadays, they expect 24/7 availability.
Yeah, sure.
They expect instant process. They expect something simple, no hassles. They don't like to queue, for example. So bank are the one who adopt. And with digital channels, we can offer the services that customer expect. And that's the key of a good business, right? You can survive if you can really adapt to the customer needs. And technology can enable those.
Okay, so do you have any more questions?
I feel that's about it.
Okay,
Do you have
so
any more questions?
I think that's also about it. So, Pak Junedi, we thank you so much for your time.
Thank you again.
And we hope to see you in our next podcast again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.